Young Christian, he says, we understand Christians can raise the dead. Go ahead. Well, what would you do? Where's the nearest bathroom? I don't think I feel too good. Well, he knew that if he didn't do something, he probably would be killed, persecuted, or whatever anyway, so he might as well go for it. And he said to the young man, he says, I don't raise the dead, but my Jesus can raise the dead. And I will pray for that God will bring life back into your mother's body and raise her from the dead. And he went over to this woman and he laid hands on her head and he says, in the name of Jesus, life come back into this body. And instantly, she took a breath and sat up and got up and was fine. Now, you're going to have some people that say, oh, well, she wasn't dead after all. She was just passed out and just came to. Well, you can believe what you want to believe. But I tend to believe she came back from the dead. Because after that, not only did the young boy get saved, but the Buddhist priest got saved and his family got saved. Pastor mentioned Reinhard Bonnke last week and telling the story about the man who was raised from the dead, and there's still some controversy over that, but the bottom line is there is proof. He was not only dead in a car accident, an African pastor was killed in a car accident, but they had started to embalm him. It's one thing to be dead, it's another thing to be embalmed. I mean, dead and embalmed, you know? I mean, then you're really dead. There's no hope. Well, that's what some people think. And he tells the story about his wife who refused. She says, I know God's going to bring him back. I know God's going to bring him back. I know God is going to raise him. And they took his body to this church where Reinhard Bonnke was preaching. And Reinhard Bonnke didn't know anything about this. The guy had been dead for 3 days. And they put him in a room, sort of like back here. And there was a couple of guys that were standing there and just praying over the body and so forth. And didn't know what to expect. I mean, the guy's been dead for 3 days. Come on. He's got embalming fluid in him. And Reinhard Bonnke's out there preaching. And he says, God can even raise the dead. And at that moment, that guy's foot moved. Now, what would you have done if you had been praying and seen that guy's foot move? He started breathing, he sat up, and he's fine. He's preaching the gospel. He's like, oh, he probably wasn't dead anyhow. He probably just passed out. Well, you can believe what you want to believe. I tend to believe what God says. In January of 2006, I've gone out with some friends, and we went to a movie, and I was sitting there in a movie, and I just felt really sick to my stomach like I had never felt before. I got up and left and went to the restroom and just felt awful. And it lasted probably about 5 or 6 hours, and then it dissipated and left. When I went to the doctors, I was telling them about this, that it was really unusual and strange. It wasn't like a tummy ache. It was just something really, it was all up my back and everything else. And he said, let's do some x-rays. And they did x-rays, and they found out that my gallbladder had at least 6 large stones in it. He says, well, how do you feel now? And I says, well, it doesn't bother me now. He says, well, we can do one of 2 things. We can either go into surgery, take out your gallbladder, he says, or we could wait and see what happens. You may never have another attack. I says, fine, let's wait. And so 1 year later, almost to the day, January 2007, it started again. And I'm thinking, okay, it's Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. If I can hold off, I'll go to the doctor's on Monday, and we'll probably have to have surgery and get this thing out. And it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I came this close to saying to Fred, take me to the hospital. But I said, honey, pray for me. laid hands on me and he prayed for me. Within about an hour or so, it immediately started to subside, but within an hour or so it was gone. So I went to the doctor again and told him about the experience, and he says, let's do another x-ray. He did another x-ray. They couldn't find any gallstones. He said, I'll tell you what, this is a God thing. Because they don't just disappear. And even if you started to pass those gallstones, you would have had to have surgery because they would have got stuck somewhere. He says, there's absolutely no gallstones. So before we had gone to Israel, they had to do some kind of ultrasound on my leg, and I was telling the guy who does the ultrasound about this, and he says, well, let's take a look at your gallbladder. I got to see this for myself. Because he did the initial test. And he looked, he says, it is a miracle. I don't see any gallstones in there. Throughout history, revival has always been associated with fire.